They buried an empty coffin. And they cried harder than anyone else. My older brother hugged guests, thanking them for their support. My aunt kept telling reporters how devastated the family was. My cousin even gave a speech about honoring my legacy. The only problem? I wasn't dead. I was standing less than 50 feet away, wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, watching my own memorial from the back of the cemetery. I hadn't come to say goodbye. I had come to find out who wanted me gone. My name is Daniel Brooks. 3 years earlier, I founded a software security company from my garage. It grew faster than anyone expected. By 35, the business was worth more than $40 million. Success changed almost everyone around me. Relatives who never called suddenly remembered my birthday. Cousins invited me to expensive dinners. My older brother Mark insisted we should run the company together. I refused. Not because I didn't love him. Because he had never finished a single project in his life. Dad understood. He always told me, never give responsibility to someone who's only interested in the reward. Mark hated hearing that. One Friday I flew to Colorado to negotiate a major partnership. On the drive back from the airport, a truck slammed into my rental car. When I woke up, I was in a small mountain hospital. My wallet was gone. My phone had shattered. The accident triggered a landslide that blocked the highway for days. By the time I reached the nearest town with internet access, something unbelievable had happened. Every news channel reported that my car had fallen into a river. Authorities believed no one could have survived. My family had already identified the vehicle. Without waiting for DNA confirmation, they declared me dead. I tried calling home. No answer. Then I saw something that froze me. My company's website now listed Mark as interim chief executive officer. 3 days. That's all it took. Instead of going home immediately, I contacted the only person I completely trusted. My father's oldest friend, retired Judge Henry Lawson. He stared at me for nearly a minute before finally speaking. I knew something wasn't right. I told him everything. Henry leaned back. If they moved this quickly. They weren't reacting. They were prepared. That sentence changed everything. He convinced me to stay hidden for a few more days. If someone planned this, they'll expose themselves. The memorial service took place the following Sunday. Henry and I watched from a distance. Mark stood beside my framed photograph. I promised to protect Daniel's dream, he announced. The crowd applauded. Then something strange happened. My cousin Eric handed Mark a thick folder. They smiled. No grief. No hesitation. Just relief. Henry quietly whispered, "Follow them." That evening we watched from outside the company headquarters. Every executive had been called to an emergency board meeting. Using Henry's legal contacts, we obtained a copy of the meeting minutes. Mark wasn't simply replacing me. He convinced the board that I had signed emergency succession papers months earlier. According to those documents, every voting share now belonged to him. Impossible. I had never signed anything like that. Unless someone forged them. Dad had taught me to keep handwritten notebooks instead of relying only on digital records. Inside my office desk was every signature sample I'd used for important contracts over the past decade. If Mark forged anything, the truth would be there. Getting inside the building was risky. Security believed I was dead. Late that night, Henry distracted the front desk while I entered through the underground archive entrance Dad had built years earlier during renovations. The office looked exactly as I'd left it. Coffee mug. Family picture. Blueprints. Then I noticed something missing. My notebook cabinet had been forced open. Someone had already searched it. Almost everything was gone. Almost. One notebook had fallen behind the filing cabinet. Inside its back cover. Dad's handwriting. Always keep one copy where thieves never think to look. Taped beneath the page was a tiny storage card. Back at Henry's house I opened the files. Thousands of scanned contracts appeared. Every signature. Every board approval. Every shareholder agreement. Then I found a folder named, "If I'm Ever Gone." A video began playing. Dad looked directly into the camera. If Daniel is watching this, someone probably tried stealing the company. I stared in disbelief. Dad continued. I secretly required every major ownership document to contain microscopic authentication marks invisible to the naked eye. He smiled. No forgery can copy them. The next folder contained high-resolution images proving every genuine document. If Mark had forged new ones, experts would expose it instantly. Henry immediately contacted federal investigators. The following morning, the emergency shareholder meeting began exactly as Mark planned. He stood confidently before hundreds of investors. As the new majority owner, the auditorium doors opened. Every head turned. Mark looked toward the entrance. His face lost all color. I walked inside. Alive. The room exploded with gasps. Someone actually screamed. Mark whispered, "That's impossible." I smiled. So is becoming CEO with fake signatures. Federal agents entered behind me. Forensic specialists projected both sets of documents onto giant screens. Within minutes they highlighted dozens of missing authentication marks. Every forged page failed inspection. Then investigators revealed something even worse. Security footage showed Mark entering the document archive weeks before my accident. He hadn't planned my death, but he had clearly planned to profit from it. The board voted unanimously. Every fraudulent transfer was cancelled. Mark was removed immediately. Criminal investigators seized the forged records. My cousin Eric admitted he helped prepare the fake paperwork in exchange for company shares. Within hours, both were under investigation for fraud and conspiracy. Outside the building, reporters chased them with cameras. The same people who applauded Mark's speech at my memorial now questioned every word he'd ever spoken. Months later, I returned to the cemetery. The empty memorial plaque still stood beneath an oak tree. Instead of removing it, I placed a small bronze inscription underneath. Read, "The truth doesn't arrive first. It arrives last." Henry smiled. "Keeping it?" I nodded. "It reminds me that betrayal rarely comes from strangers." I never rebuilt my relationship with Mark. Some bridges collapse because they were never built on honesty in the first place. But Dad's lesson stayed with me. Success doesn't reveal who your family is. It reveals who they become when they think you've disappeared. And sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't taking back what was stolen. It's walking through the front door. Life. Just as everyone finished celebrating your downfall.